Hi, everybody. It is February 6th already. We are deep into Aquarius season now, and it's a nice sunny day here in Vancouver. I'm going to be doing all of the readings today. I know I keep saying that I will do all 12 of them, but sometimes all 12 for each zodiac sign. It just feels like sometimes that collective energy says it all. And specifically for each sign, there's just so much overlap. And also I procrastinate. So it's a couple of things. So let's see what the general energies are for this week. So today is Sunday. Let's see here. Things are loosening up. Mercury has gone direct. We're still in the shadow phase. Usually I find the last day of Mercury retrograde, whatever glitches did not happen all seem to rush to the forefront and go sideways on the very last day of Mercury retrograde, just to sort of get that out there. Venus, the shadow of Venus retrograde will persist for the whole month of February, though. Okay. So today I am using the Light Seer Tarot by Chris Ann. I'm also using the Universal Weight by Pamela Coleman Smith, and the Spirit Oracle deck, and I think also the Power Animal cards, as well as my little runes. So let's see. Ooh, okay. Well, wow. Okay, so what's hopping out here right out of the gate? Collective energies. Partnerships. This is a very relationship-centric month. It's not just love relationships. It's also all of those personal relationships. How are we relating to ourselves and to other people? It is this opening up after this long period of, and I've said it in just about every video I've done over the last couple of months, we collectively have gone through this huge transition, hopefully, of purging. The dark night of the soul that lasted, I don't know how long and how frequently, and really looking into that shadow self and the shadow work and all of that energy. I think it sums it up really well in this Three of Swords card. This is actually the last card that came out. Those wounds that are there, it's painful. The interesting thing about the heart as the focal point here, we all say it, heart chakra, brokenhearted. When you feel this overwhelming connection to somebody or something, you get this flood of oxytocin coming from this area. When we receive some kind of painful news or something devastating or emotionally painful, we also feel it here, and it constricts, and it actually negatively impacts our physical heart. So the scars that we have, they never go away, but it doesn't mean that this cannot continue to function. So it's not about holding on to those things and dwelling on them and reliving them and rehashing them out, having to create situations that reinforce those scenarios over and over again, learn it and carry the reminder, which is the scar, and continue to move forward. So what's really interesting here, and I have to find a different word for interesting because I say that all the time, but it does, it always amazes me how these energies line up. So the order in which these flew out, that is the last card, which is really remembering what those scars mean. We're not reopening this every time. Okay, just know that there is scar tissue there. emotionally, figuratively, metaphorically, however you want to think about it. The first card that came out is polar opposite of that. Let's put it over here. So this Two of Cups is one of my favorite depictions of this concept of reciprocity and friendship, and every color of the rainbow is in there. It's just so intermingled, interconnected. Even their arms are twisted, their fingers are intertwined. It's loose enough but connected. It's not clasping on there. It's free flowing, colorful. There's brightness in the horizon. The sky is blue. All of that means clear thinking, clear emotion, openness, love, friendship, all of those things. And then we have two aces coming together, which is another thing that's just amazing. So these two aces here. So the Ace of Wands is a fire element. Wands are fire. And having it here in the third eye is about inspiration. All of this stuff, what is your muse? What is your reason behind what it is that you do? What compels you? What drives you? And if we're talking about a love relationship or something like that, this is that initial thrust of passion, and I'm choosing that word quite specifically because it does mean that it is this very kind of lusty, passionate feeling. But at the same time, we can use that in that sense, and that's perfectly fine. We can also use that same energy in a different way, especially if it has nothing to do with love. If it's not a love relationship, what about that relationship with your higher self in fulfilling your destiny, whatever that is, the thing that you're most passionate about, how you live your life so that you are manifesting what truly feeds your soul. And this is the month where you plant those seeds. And so in connection with that, we have this really nice card of they're all nice, but this is really nice coming in after that. The Ace of Pentacles. It's the first, it's on a material level. Okay. And there's some roots happening here. The hands are full of soil and there's new little shoots popping up. And what's really neat about that is that the next card that comes up is the step after that, in a sense. It's not the two, but this is where you begin to see growth. So all of this is happening in 1 month. These are the overall energies. These are things that you might have planted back in, August or July, Leo season. Things are actually growing. All of these pentacles are below the surface. You don't really see what's happening, but there is growth. There is some sign that things are moving forward. And that can be in any area of your life. Okay, so all of these are really positive, and it's still saying that yes, you might have heartache and heartbreak. And we always think of February as Valentine's and all that stuff. And there's a lot of pressure to, be in something and do something, and people are expecting certain things. And how about, with all of this, how about authenticity, reciprocity, and creativity? How about joining either with yourself? Well, I shouldn't even say or, with yourself and with others or with another in that very authentic place. There's this feeling here of, even though the card isn't there yet, this feeling of, this is funny too on the bottom. I'm just going to say that feeling of taking a chance and really trusting that you are moving out of that area of having to be deceptive or wear a mask in a figurative sense, putting up a facade. Is it okay to actually be myself or say what I think or feel? And finding that way, this is reciprocity. There's nothing in any of these cards that talk about anything in a harsh sense. That harsh thing is nothing but scar tissue at this point. Everything is being nurtured and is growing. When you come at it from that space, you're creating a whole new pattern. Okay, so what I found funny was at the bottom of the deck, these are the things that we don't see coming, kind of thing. We've got the Seven of Swords with my little crow friends here. And this is, that deception part, feeling trapped, not being able to see. And it's not really trapped. This is like completely mental construct. Codependent behaviors, being trapped in those kind of things. And then there's the Wheel of Fortune underneath. Lots of options, not knowing what option to pick. So you create your own option. The best option would be not to do things in the same way you've been doing them. That would probably be the best advice there. Okay. Just gonna see what flies out or something. And only one more. Only one more. It's really nice. So this picks up from that energy of really moving past the things that you believe are holding you back. These are not real things. Okay, when you see her sitting there, she's just completely free. And what she's looking at in the mirror is this somewhat trapped, I mean, she's not really, it's just some string and a blindfold. She can easily get out of that. But it's that feeling, perceived limitations, blocks, hindrances, some kind of glass ceiling. And then we have this King of Pentacles here. And this is and it doesn't have to be, it's not necessarily masculine or feminine character in your life, but just to embody this feeling. He's very content. Okay, he's happy, he's relaxed, he's got his sweater on, his jeans, his trusty old dog, lots of books on the wall, lots of information. It's warm, he's happy and pleasant. This is the chance to establish yourself. There's still remnants of that Mercury retrograde, I think. There's only so long I can blame my speech impediment on Mercury retrograde. But this is that feeling of you're actually making strides in becoming more responsible, especially when it comes to material things. I think one of the things that we've collectively proven to ourselves over the last 6 months or 7 months, especially, if not the last 2 years, is that we don't actually need a lot of the things that we thought we did to be happy and content. And people have been paring down, just paring back and focusing on, I guess, material security for sure. There's really that popped up of like, what do we really need to be secure in our environments and in our relationships as well. So this is like, this king's got it going on, it's typically representative of an earth sign, but it doesn't have to be, but it's embodying that grounded nature, loyalty. There's no funny business with this energy here. Okay, compared to this, you can drop this and move straight into this energy of like, feel secure, just feel secure. Do the things that make you feel secure without all that devil energy. We just saw at the bottom of the deck a second ago. And to further support that, we have this, I'm trying to get those angel wings. Can you get those? There we go. There we go. Okay. There is a balance between the dark and the light here, but this temperance is patience. And it feels like it's finally that time. It is that time. Like I keep saying, everything is beginning to flow. So just feel confident. This is not the time to give up on your dreams. Okay. You might have been trying really hard all this time and nothing was panning out. Just trust that it's happening, but you have to take those steps. This guy, things didn't just fall into his lap. He is a very loyal, steadfast, practical king. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, here we go. The 10. Yeah, victory, everything. So that's okay. So here we go. So this is the most emotionally fulfilling card in the deck when it comes to relationships or what really feeds your soul, whatever that looks like to you. Okay. It's the maximum. It's 10. It goes up to 11, actually. It's really, really fulfilling. And then sandwiched between, look at this, the King and Queen of Swords. And it came out this way. Okay. So we're going to look at this. It is February. So this King and Queen are really representative of this month of February. These are divine counterparts. And there's still something between them, and that they're not looking at each other yet. Okay, so it's very, very specific here. It's very specific as to what's going on. And so this King and Queen, the divine counterparts, they are moving towards each other. Ultimately, for the 10 of Cups. And what is in between? This is a really nice bridging energy, finally. The 7 of Wands. And I like this because it almost looks like a crystal ball, but she's in a little bubble here. And she's protected. And all of these wands are being sort of poked at her. In many decks, this is a very defensive kind of position of holding your ground and knowing what you're worth, knowing your value, being secure in that way, that everything sort of coming at you is very easy to, it's easy for you to defend yourself if you actually just hold your ground and defend yourself. Standing in your light, knowing your worth, putting yourself in a little protective bubble. Okay. And then there's a victory. So this scenario here, however that is for you, the people who are really doing their work are coming together. Divine counterpart. They are separately doing their work, and then they are coming together, holding their ground, knowing their worth. There is applause and recognition coming for people who are doing that. And there's also, keep going here, there's also walking away from something that you might have put a lot of effort into. And we've seen this coming. Lots of things have been falling away because they do not hold up to what's coming. With all of those, when you go back to the Ace of Wands, this is like this new start. You have been asking for things, whatever that is. That's, things are being accelerated at this moment. Things were not accelerating all this time, for the last 20 months or so, and especially the last 6 or 7 months. Things were not accelerating. Things were grinding to a halt. All the gears were just winding down so that people could face their stuff and actually receive in that feminine energy we've been talking about for months. Sit in that place where you can actually receive. And in order to receive, you have to do all that work. You have to look at the shadow side. You have to look at your negative patterns and behaviors and your motivations and all of that. If you do not raise your vibration of knowing what your value is, your intrinsic value, you're not going to receive stuff. Or you're going to receive it here, but you're not going to receive this. You have to get up there. And in order to get up there, it's a question of being authentic, being true, all of those things. So I'm going to switch decks here. I'm going to go into this universal weight. This deck is so heavy, like physically heavy. And the cards are very flexible. And yet, it's so heavy. I don't know what they're made out of, why it's so different. The sound of children outside screaming. What else do we need to know that will be helpful? Guiding you through the month. So let's see. Again, divine counterparts, and they're looking at each other. So as I think really we've got Aquarius season happening. Then we have Pisces season as we move into Aries season. So probably by the end of March, these divine counterparts really move together, however that looks for you. Okay. Just to reinforce this a little, we've got Temperance again, different deck. And there's our 2 cups from the 2 of Cups. There is reciprocity here. There is patience and growth. There is a sun on the horizon. Everything is coming. This is divine timing. So especially when we have the same cards in 2 different decks, that is something to think about. Clear up the petty squabbles, all of this bickering and stuff. If you find yourself repeatedly in those situations, you need to clear it. If you cannot change that situation, it's time to let it. 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups it right out of there. Okay, because this is what's coming. And then we've got what's kind of neat about this is that even though it's the king and queen, as far as how they're drawn, they're kind of like gender neutral somehow. And I like the fact that this little cat reminds me of my cat. And then what is that over there? It looks like a little lizard on the ground. So this is that fire energy. This is that passion. When these 2 unite, it's passion and inspiration and a drive. It's unified as well. Having that show up behind them is that feeling of security. It is not like foolhardy kind of energy. This is that stable, loyal, trusted, steady, let's make sure everything is cool. Okay. So, and at the bottom of the deck, this is nice. So we have the star. This is optimism. Okay, the star is a number 8. There are 8 stars. One hand is pouring water into the earth and the other one is pouring it back. So again, it is a feeling of reciprocity, of that continual flow of energy. And there's also an openness and a vulnerability there and a prosperity as well. So optimism. Major arcana cards are certainly more profound. They're less transient. They're longer lasting. We have the 10 of Cups again at the bottom. Page of Swords. You know, this can be divine guidance coming through. And the 8 of Cups again. So we're getting repeating messages, which is a good, I think, when we use different decks. Runes. Let's see what the little runes have to say here. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. By the way, I do have a link in the description box for the monthly Astro Tarot forecast that I do with Millie every month. And that's on our Astro Tarot Deep Dive monthly podcast. So it's usually longer because it's a deep dive. It's 90 minutes. And then I also have a link there to Patreon if you feel like buying me a coffee. If you like these readings, and I will be forever grateful. I don't ever want to run out of coffee. Let's see, what does the universe have to say? A beautiful blue sky out there. Okay. The first rune, Berkana. This is like literally birth. Figuratively, what are you giving birth to? It is that time. It is almost time to give birth to something. This is great. Dag or Degas. This is dawn. Breaking of. This is like a new day. No. Okay. So this is hereditary things. Things that have you've inherited, traits you've inherited. It's very much akin to the 10 of Pentacles. Okay, so this is really nice. Giving birth to something. You're ready to give birth to something, literally or figuratively. It's a new day. So there's no reverse to this. This is always positive. And a cell. Really good stuff. We're really embarking on something. So the more you can clear any encumbrances, anything that is hindering you, anything that is tying you to an old story, it's time to let it go and don't feel bad about it. It's not part of you anymore. Okay, so I'm going to use these Power Animal Oracle cards. I'm not going to read what it says in there in the little book. We're just going to focus on the main energy of whatever. There's my little hummingbirds outside. Things are beginning to bud here, and so some of the first sources of nectar that these little guys have is the heather. Heather has been blooming, I think, for a couple weeks now, and then the cherry trees are just beginning to open, and the little hummingbirds. So there's no leaves or flowers or anything like that. Nothing's at that point. Daffodils are out, but the little hummingbird is sitting out there, hovering. They look like giant bumblebees, and it's easy to spot them because there's no encumbrances. Let's think of that. I was going to say if a hummingbird came out, I'd be really freaked out. But that has nothing to do. Well, I shouldn't say it has nothing to do. It is a message of I was going to say transformation, and then transportation came out. It's hummingbirds are clever, and if you've ever seen one up close, they have a different eye. You know, they have two different eyes. No, that came out wrong. Both of their eyes are the same within itself. They're different looking than many birds. They look like a little human eye. And so on this tiny little body and this little thing that hovers like a bumblebee, they're very curious and very funny, and they sing really an excruciating sounding song, but they do it so exuberantly. And, you know, they're beautiful and funny, and they'll come and look at you. And so I think that is a good message. They're playful and fun and looking at things from a different perspective. However, we've also got the antelope, which I think is really fitting. It coincides with what I've been saying all this time. It's decisiveness. Make a decision and take appropriate action. That's good. One last card, which is the Spirit Oracle deck. Spirit Oracle. There we go. Any final messages? There we go. Joy. Look at that. Joy. Perfect. So it's Kuan Yin. Love and compassion. A time of healing. You're being showered with love and light. Accept this gift. A newfound joy for life will replace your sadness. So what did we have there? Some remnants of stuff, petty squabbles, minor irritations, annoyances, scar tissue on the heart, wounds, grieving, all that stuff. But there was a tiny little component. The rest of what's happening is this expansion, and it's in your hands. So there's no point complaining. It's like if you are in a mess right now and you don't want to be in that mess, if you want to be in that mess, great, don't do anything. It's going to persist. If you don't want to be in that mess and you want to see yourself in a different place mentally, financially, physically, even next month at this time or by the end of the month, all the way at the end of Pisces season, then the message here from the universe is that take those steps, change it, cut everything back, remove everything that is not serving your highest good, because you can take a huge leap, level up 3-4 times maybe. There we go. That is the collective reading. So immediately after this, I am going to record all of the 12 signs. I divide them up by zodiac, but there's always like an overlap, it seems, because it's almost like the month. And I usually start with the zodiac of the month that we're in. So I will start with Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and so on.